Audio only.
Audio only for the comic fam. These are the diehards.
We love you.
I hope you're bagging and boarding comics. I hope you're pricing comics. I hope you're thinking about the comics you want to get. Or at the very least, you're listening to us while you're doing some trivial task, because that's why I listen to podcasts. I'm like washing dishes. I'm walking a dog.
Maybe you're driving to work, hating everything about your entire existence except for this podcast, because we're awesome. And you're awesome for listening to it.
You really are. You're awesome for listening to it, and we appreciate that you're here. And Ryan, you wrote this awesome article. It touched me in my heart. It made me happy. It made me think about old times.
Yes.
How long ago was this?
I got that job in early 2013. So
it was your favorite job, your absolute favorite job you worked at. You wish you still worked there.
Oh, yeah. Yep. It's very true.
Wells Fargo, also known as Hell, is a place where we both worked. I actually started my adult career running and managing bank locations. I would go to a new location that either needed help, like they were just sinking, they needed to grow the bank, or they would send me to a brand new location, put me in the newspaper and be like, hey, there's a new location coming and Tom Garcia is the manager. Now, mind you, I was super young.
I was always wondering that. Like, how did you get started as a bank manager at like 14 years old, or however old you were when I met you?
I was the youngest Wells Fargo manager and then the youngest Union Bank manager up until I quit banking. And it was like published and they were, regularly bringing it up because I went down their career curriculum. I started as a teller. I worked my way up to a banker. I started managing as an assistant manager, and I just drank the Kool-Aid of like what they did. Like, hey, you do this, you can get to this point. And then I was just aggressive about it. I'm like, hey, I'll do this job better. Let's give me a chance. And it got to the point where I was like 22 years old and they were giving me a location because that particular manager quit last minute and they needed somebody. And sometimes that's how like opportunities come up.
Always how it works in my experience.
You never know.
Yeah.
It's got to be prepared for anything. But I was working at a location. It was my final year at Wells Fargo before I went on to another bank, which I would work at for 3 more years before going to Amazon part-time to wean off of working full-time to then do comic books full-time.
Right.
And in that last year, I needed a teller. I actually needed a few tellers. And I was interviewing. And these are some of like the early interviews that I did in my career. And Ryan walks in the door.
Yep.
You wanted to be a teller.
I did. I wanted a job that utilized numbers and data entry and wasn't working at the food court like I had been for the past few years before that.
Well, here's the secret. A teller job is marketed as a finance job, right? Even Michael Scott said it. Tell the girls at the bar you work in finance. I'm a teller, But,
exactly.
But that's kind of
it's a sales job.
It's a sales job.
It's a sales job.
It's customer service 30% and pushing products the remaining 70%.
That may also just be Wells Fargo percentages too, because they are notoriously pushy with the products and the sales.
Since we left the bank, Wells Fargo has had to redo their entire sales structure. A lot of the people
CEO got questioned by Congress.
Their CEO had to step down.
Yeah.
And all these people that they like used
defrauded.
Yeah, I mean, it is bad. It was bad news. It was in the news, and we got out of it.
We were there for
the heart of it.
Yeah.
We were there for the screaming customers who were getting overdraft fees. Like my job was to deal with that.
All the meetings we had to go to where they yelled at us like push products.
It was terrible. But Ryan, you walked in the door and you wanted this job, and we connected. How did it happen?
We had a job interview together, and it was sitting across from a table much like this, except we weren't surrounded by comics. It was in a boardroom at the back of a bank.
I was wearing a suit. You were wearing a nice dress shirt.
Yep. I was trying to impress. I was dressed to impress.
You sure were. You're dressing for the job you wanted.
That's what they tell you to do. So I was sitting down talking with you, and we were having a normal job interview, and then you guys asked what I liked to do in my spare time, and I happened to mention that I liked reading, and comic books somehow came out of my mouth, and that was the magic word, I guess, in that situation.
It was the magic word because that's what I would do in interviews. I mean, I would try to find out something about the person that made me confident that they're a real person, because you get a lot of just fluff. Oh, I like to do like these three basic things that everyone says. And then
Travel.
yeah, like I hope to do this one day. Like it's a lot of like the same answers when you see people over and over again. So I look for something real because then I can get you talking about something you're passionate about. And if you're passionate, well, then there's a hope, right? Maybe you'll be dedicated. And he brought up comic books, and that's all I needed to hear.
Yeah. Don't do that. I wrote that in the article. Like, don't be honest in your job
I know.
interviews.
You kind of lucked out, dude. He told it to the right person.
Yeah. If it was anybody but you, they'd have been like, oh, this guy's a nerd. Next.
All right, and I was like, oh, dude. Yeah, man, I am big into comics. You can't see,
Yeah.
but under these sleeves, I am just tatted up. And that's when you shared with me that you had a superhero tattoo.
Yep.
Ryan's got a freaking fat Green Lantern tattoo on his arm.
I do. I almost showed the camera, but the
He's
camera's
got-
not on.
He actually has Brian Michael Bendis tattooed above his butt crack.
Mm-hmm.
He loves Brian Michael Bendis. He's got a I'm just kidding. He does not have a tattoo above his butt crack.
No, just
No.
the one on my arm.
No, just the one on his arm. And you know what? It's okay because I think that's awesome. I think he's part of the JLA, man.
Yeah, I got a Green Lantern tattoo on my brother's 21st birthday in Vegas.
There you go.
He got a Blue Lantern tattoo on his arm, and we're matching Lantern Bros. But
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't know that he had a.
he has a million other tattoos as well. But this is my only tattoo, so it's a little more meaningful for me. But yeah, we got matching Lantern tattoos. There's a whole story there. But yeah, we have comic book tattoos in common, you and I.
We then grew a friendship over that time. You met Erin at that time because I also met her at the bank as well.
Correct.
And I would regularly ship my comic books to the branch because I hate waiting for comics and I hate having to drive to the post office. And since I was the boss, I did what I want. And I would have my Bowen statues shipped there. And I would show Ryan, hey, look at my new $300 statue.
I remember, yeah, that was my favorite time during the day. Like Tom would come up to the teller line, and he would just kind of step to the side with me and be like, "Hey, come over my desk, check this out. I got this like giant Captain America statue shipped here. This giant man I got. Let's open it at my desk."
That's right.
In
You
the
saw
middle
the
of the
giant
bank.
man.
Yeah, you had a giant. We opened a giant man statue.
Which also got toppled over and the legs broke because of my
Yes,
cat. You're
that was-
basically doing what my cat did and
I'm
knocking over
basically-
statues.
I try.
That's why I don't own statues anymore. Is because my cat knocks them over, and now you knock them
And
over.
now I knock them over.
Now I say my cats and Ryan knock over my statues. But anyways, that's how we met. I encourage everyone because this is just a little bit of the story. Ryan continues it with a little bit more substance in the article. You know, you kind of get into some details that I thought were really fun. So I encourage everyone to check out the blog. We got a bunch of cool stuff on there. And I also want to shout out a bunch of members of the community who have already started posting. Reggie Collects has submitted articles. We have Jason from Certified Comic Shop. He wrote up an amazing piece about the CGC like opinion you can pay for on eBay listings, and you get like the CGC grade check. He did a whole article about that, super valuable. And then we have John's Comics with Kids. Him and his daughters are writing articles now, so we're getting reviews about kids' books from Kate and Charlie. It's awesome. I'm so excited about this, and the support's been amazing. We're talking about now Donny Cates possibly killing off Rocket Raccoon. What's going on?
Yeah, it's a little strange. He's been writing Guardians of the Galaxy. This is it's been a pretty cool run. I've been on it since issue 1.
He's just killing it, dude. I'm
He really
so
is.
proud of this guy. Like coming on the scene so new and hearing his story at Emerald City when he was just telling us about how he had a passion for it. So he went to school and he just tried.
Yeah.
He tried hard. He's like, yeah, I went and worked at shops and the shops I worked at closed down. So like, obviously I'm not good in comic book stores, but it turns out I'm good at comic book writing. Like he's so modest because he's putting out fire every other week. Just straight fire comic books. And he's just low-key super humble.
He really is. This was Guardians of the Galaxy was my chance to get in on the ground floor with a Donny Cates series because he had already launched Thanos and Venom and stuff by that time, to say nothing of, Baby Teeth and Redneck and all that other stuff he's got going on. But I jumped on Guardians of the Galaxy. I've only read the first 6 issues. I'm not current on this new arc they have, but it's about Rocket Raccoon. And he was noticeably absent from the first few issues, and there were a few times when characters would say, "Hey, where's Rocket? Why isn't Rocket on the team?" And people would kind of make eye contact and be like, "We don't talk about Rocket. He's just gone for a while." And there's just been a lot of hints dropped.
They've gone over his origin story, which was written out by Bill Mantlo and Mike Mignola, which is an awesome early Mignola run. It's a 4-issue series. And they're bringing it back to his roots. Like, where did Rocket come from? How did this animal become a superhero? You know, how did he become one of the members of the Guardians of the Galaxy, like an elite member? And it's because he has ties to a planet with other animals. And really, like, he's like been experimented on by robots. And it's part of the experimentation that has gone wrong. And it appears that our little raccoon is dying.
It looks pretty sad.
It's like losing his hair and stuff.
Yeah, I'm excited to restart reading these. I've got issue 7 and 8 waiting for me, but I'm kind of nervous now.
Right?
Yeah, this run has been pretty epic so far, and epic is a word I try not to use a lot, but the first arc anyway was about Thanos getting resurrected, and it involved a lot of people questioning each other's motives and betrayal and lack of trust, and it was very dramatic and powerful. And to see him turn to talk about Rocket dying for a whole story arc, it's going to be kind of sad. So I'm looking forward to reading it, but at the same time, I'm not at all.
It's one of those things we just got done talking about, like, is it like when characters get killed or when it gets solicited that they're going to make a change like that, if that's something we should be like really paying attention to, is it kind of blown out of proportion? But then it comes back to the writing. If the story itself is, I'll use your word, epic, without the death, well, it makes that death that much more impressive, is more important, more thought-provoking. And then it gets you to want to reread it, as you just said. Immortal Hulk, the solicitations for the end of the series has me wanting to reread the whole story. If you do it right, you cause buzz. If you do it right, you make more comics. This excites me.
Me too.
All right. Thank you, Comic Fam. We do appreciate your time today. If you made it to the end of the video, I got to just say, oh my goodness, what did I just say? I said, thank you, Comic Fam, if you made it to the end of the video. This isn't the video.
This isn't a video, Tom.
See, I'm looking at and you can't see me right now, but I look at the camera sometimes.
It's a habit. I look at the camera when we're not even recording. We're sitting at this table and I just make eye contact like I'm literally on The Office.
If you made it to the end of this audio recording,
yes,
we appreciate you the mostest.
We appreciate you 3,000.
3,000, for real. You stick with us. You are the diehard supporters of the show. And if there's one thing we can ask of you is to, whatever platform you're listening to us on, there's a way to rate the show. If you rate it, it goes so far for us on these audio platforms. And we really do hope that you if you found any value to this, that you'll do that. We appreciate the positive criticism, but we also really do appreciate the high ratings, because you guys have just been bringing the heat every week, and we do appreciate you.
We love you guys.
We do. We'll see you next Sunday.
Take care. Geek responsibly.
Oh, and go to the YouTube video and comment so that you can be entered to win one of the 3 giveaways.
That's true. We're giving away a whole bunch of stuff this time. You should probably go check out the video and then drop a comment down there, because you can't comment here. Go to the YouTube video, comment there.
Ryan just said all of that while looking at the camera.
I did.
Just want to make sure to
there's
that.
No camera. There is no spoon.
There's nothing there, man. All right. Bye, Comic Fam.
Good night.